November 10th, 2009, 18 years old. That was the dream of many teenagers, finally having their first car. For Ashley Parham, 18, in Virginia, that dream had finally come true. She was driving her 2001 Honda Accord. Her vehicle, equipped with a Takata airbag, was hit in an accident. The airbag deployed, but instead of saving her, the airbag exploded. Thousands of metal fragments flew through the interior of the car at 200 miles per hour. Ashley died instantly. Her neck was pierced by metal shrapnel. She didn't die from the impact of the accident. She died from the airbag that was supposed to save her. And she wasn't the only one. Over the next 15 years, the Takata airbag would kill 26 more people and injure more than 400. And the worst part? The company already knew. Welcome to Recall Files. This is the largest automotive recall in United States history. 67 million airbags called back, 20 manufacturers involved, 27 confirmed deaths, 400 injured, a company that hid defective tests for a decade, and a 57-cent mistake that cost thousands of lives. This is the story of the Takata airbag, how a safety component transformed into a lethal weapon, why nobody went to prison, and how millions of cars are still on the road right now, with time bombs in the steering wheel. Let's investigate. Let's understand first what went wrong. The airbag works like this. In an accident, a sensor detects the impact. An explosive charge is triggered. The explosive inflates the airbag in 0.03 seconds. The airbag cushions the impact of the driver's body. Everything should work perfectly. But Takata used an explosive called ammonium nitrate. This is the same compound used in agricultural fertilizers and in explosives used in mining. It's highly unstable, especially in conditions of heat and humidity. And the biggest problem? Takata didn't use an adequate desiccant. Over time, this ammonium nitrate absorbs moisture from the air. It deteriorates. It becomes even more explosive. In extreme conditions, it explodes with disproportionate force. The airbag doesn't inflate smoothly. It explodes. The metal of the inflator fragments. Shrapnel is launched at more than 200 miles per hour, directly into the face, neck, chest of the driver or passenger. It's like a grenade inside the car. And here's the worst part. Takata knew this from the beginning. During Takata's internal tests in Mexico, airbags began to explode. The company tested inflators and recorded ruptures, but they reported nothing to authorities. 2004. Takata secretly altered defective tests. They manipulated the results so they would appear safe. Internal Takata engineers even ordered the destruction of physical evidence of airbags that had exploded in tests. They removed results from internal databases. 2009. First official death. Ashley Parham. Honda and Takata began investigating, but instead of opening a massive recall, Takata minimized the severity. The strategy was, limit the recall only to vehicles in high humidity regions. They called them areas with high climate risk. This meant Florida, Texas, southern US, Puerto Rico, Hawaii. But the problem wasn't just climatic. Any car exposed to heat or humidity was at risk. Even cars in New York, Michigan, California. Death number 4. Investigations begin to escalate. NHTSA, the Federal Traffic Safety Agency, opens formal investigation. Honda expands recalls, but Takata continues minimizing. Internally, executives knew. Emails show that engineers warned about the danger, but nothing was done. Why? Because fixing would cost billions, and the company thought they could hide it. The recall explodes. Another 7 million vehicles called back, but replacement production is slow. Takata doesn't have the capacity to manufacture new airbags fast enough. Car owners wait months, even years, for a replacement, and meanwhile, the deaths continue. 2015. The United States Senate summons Takata for testimony. The CEO of Takata testifies before Congress. He admits problems but minimizes the scale. By this point, more than 34 million vehicles were already being called back. But this was just the beginning. The recall transforms into the largest in U.S. history. 67 million defective airbags, 20 different manufacturers: Honda, Toyota, BMW, Ford, Nissan, Mazda, General Motors, Subaru, Fiat Chrysler, Mercedes-Benz, Volkswagen, Tesla, Ferrari, McLaren. No brand was immune. From a used Civic to a $300,000 Ferrari, all had the same deadly airbag. And here comes the worst. Millions of owners didn't know. Many never received notification, others ignored it. Cars were sold used without warning new owners. Car rental companies continued renting vehicles with unreplaced airbags. Until 2021, NHTSA was still fighting to get recalls completed. Even today, in 2025, there are still cars on the road with unreplaced Takata airbags. You might be driving one of them right now. And the victims? They weren't just numbers. Stephanie Erdman, Joel Knight, Carlos Solis, Delia Robles, Hien Tran, Armando Ortega. Real people. Who died from a defect the company already knew about. Families destroyed. Horrific injuries. People who lost their vision, suffered deep lacerations, were permanently disfigured. All from an airbag that should have saved them. Let's talk about the consequences. What happened to Takata? June 2017. Takata files for bankruptcy. The company couldn't bear the weight of recalls and lawsuits. It was purchased by Key Safety Systems, a competitor. The Takata name disappeared. January 2017. 3 Takata executives are criminally charged in the United States. They're accused of wire fraud and conspiracy. The charges: hiding defective tests, manipulating data, destroying evidence. But none of them were extradited from Japan. Nobody went to prison. February 2017. Takata pleads guilty to wire fraud. The company is sentenced to pay $1 billion in fines and compensation. $850 million for victims and automakers. $125 million for individual compensation. $25 million in criminal fines. But for the victims, that money was never enough. For families who lost children, parents, siblings, there is no compensation. And the manufacturers? They were also responsible. Honda, Toyota, GM, Ford, all knew. They received internal reports from Takata, but waited years to act. They minimized. They tried to limit recalls. Why? Because each recall cost billions. But the real cost was measured in lives. And today, in 2025, after almost 20 years since the first death, there are still uncorrected cars on the road. NHTSA estimates that millions of Takata airbags still haven't been replaced. Owners ignore warnings. Repair shops don't have enough replacement parts. Cars are sold without disclosed recall history. And the risk continues. So what can we learn from this? 3 lessons. First, regulation isn't enough. NHTSA failed. They knew about the problems since 2009, but it took years to force complete recalls. Bureaucracy killed. Second, corporate culture matters. Takata prioritized profits over safety. They manipulated data. They destroyed evidence. They hid the truth. And they paid the price: the company's bankruptcy and the death of its reputation. But that only happened after 27 people had died. Third, personal accountability is necessary. Executives lied, but nobody went to prison. No American or Japanese CEO went to jail. The only penalties were corporate fines. But companies don't feel pain. People do. If there are no personal consequences, executives will continue making lethal choices. And here's the final question. How many Takatas are still out there? How many companies are, at this exact moment, hiding defects? How many people will die tomorrow because someone decided that fixing it costs too much? The Takata case isn't unique. It's just a visible example of a system that values profits more than lives. And until we change that, there will be more recalls, more scandals, more deaths. The next one might be in your car right now. Check if your vehicle has been recalled. NHTSA has a website where you can enter your VIN, the vehicle identification number. Type it in and see if there are pending recalls. Don't ignore it. It could save your life, or someone you love. This has been Recall Files. Thank you for watching. If you believe this story needs to be told, share this video. subscribe to the channel, and leave in the comments, have you ever been affected by a recall? See you in the next investigation.